When Sean Diddy Combs ascended the stage at the BET Awards in June 2022 to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, his energy was electric. The audience, a constellation of his loved ones and music industry titans, showered him with a standing ovation.
A lot of times people see your dreams, they crazy. You going for your passion you have for your dreams may make you act crazy.
His journey from a hungry teenage intern to a colossus in music and fashion had reached a glorious crescendo. With eyes closed, he offered thanks to God, sank to one knee in homage to his mother, and acknowledged a litany of mentors and inspirations.
Give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free. Yeah, also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love. I just miss Kim, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And
he expressed gratitude to those who had stood by him, mentioning Cassie Ventura, his former muse and singer at his iconic Bad Boy label, who had remained on his mind since their separation 4 years earlier. Almost 18 months later, in November 2023, the facade shattered. Ventura sued Combs, alleging he had subjected her to violent sexual servitude.
Filed against Sean Diddy Combs accuses the music performer and executive of rape, physical abuse, and sex trafficking. The singer Cassie says the incidents occurred throughout her 10-year relationship with Combs that allows alleged sexual offense victims to file past the statute of limitations. Cassie says she wanted to speak out before that law expires next week. Mr. Combs has denied all the allegations. Attorney Dante Mills with us. Cassie has signed with that label when she was just 19 and Sean Combs was 37. What's alleged to have happened after that?
Thank you for having this lawsuit. I just wanted to be clear. This is a civil lawsuit. This is not a criminal lawsuit. There's no chance here as we stand for Sean Combs to go to jail. It's a civil lawsuit about money. And the claim is that during their relationship, he was physically abusive, that he required or demanded that she perform other people while he was there, and that he, in fact, shortly before she left,
alleging he had subjected her to violence during their final breakup in 2018. Her lawsuit painted his BET speech in stark contrast, transforming his dark times into her live nightmare of abuse and violence. She detailed brutal beatings, one captured in a harrowing hotel surveillance video, leaving her with physical and emotional scars. Tiffany Red, a Grammy-winning songwriter and Ventura's confidant,
I don't think people understand what it's like to be traumatized by somebody famous and rich.
She became friends with Cassie while writing songs for her album. Cassie filed last month. She detailed the abuse she says Diddy committed, including physical assault. Red says although she did not know about the alleged physical assault while working with Cassie, she did witness verbal abuse on more than one occasion, one of which took place during Cassie's 29th birthday in 2015. Did witness verbal abuse on more than one occasion.
To the coroner, and he was like cussing her out with his hand in her face.
Later that night, Red, who was staying at Cassie's home, says she awoke to screaming.
I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside, and I remember like looking in his eyes, and I said to him, "What did y'all do?" Because I could see that she was like really sedated. That was the first time I ever seen her like high before. And then he says, "Tell your girl she wants some birthday." And we were like, well, I mean, he's saying it to me, and I'm like, well, she doesn't have to have sex with you if she doesn't want to. He was upset, like, you know, I guess that she didn't want to do with him whatever he wanted. I don't know. I don't feel like I could advocate for myself in that moment. Like, I realized, like, oh, this guy is dangerous.
Red says it was only a few months ago that Cassie told her what was really going on that night in 2015, that it all stemmed from the music executive wanting her to take part in what he called a freak-off against her will.
What did Cassie tell you about these freak-offs?
You know, that he would hire these, like, sex workers and, like, they would have, sex with her or whatever, and he would watch and tell them what to do.
In her lawsuit, Cassie alleges she was forced to participate in freak-offs throughout her relationship with Diddy. Red learning recently one horrific detail from Cassie.
She told me the only time he was willing to do anything or work on her music, go through any plans, any of that, was when she had a freak off. So all of our music, all my work, to find out that I spent all these years writing these songs for him to rape my friend to, is just disgusting.
In the lawsuit, Cassie detailed the physical abuse she says Diddy committed, including an instance where she was put in a hotel room for days to heal. Red says Cassie recently told her about Diddy giving her a black eye before the premiere of her 2016 film.
Following their breakup, Ventura negotiated behind closed doors to escape her bad boy contract, a process fraught with distress. Despite a 10-album deal, only one album saw the light, and Combs allegedly tied her separation agreement to a non-disparagement clause, making her negotiations with her abuser even more harrowing. Ventura eventually sought solace in a rehabilitation center, finding strength in motherhood. As she began to speak out, a cascade of other accusations followed. 5 more women came forward, accusing Combs of rape and violent sexual assault, some claiming he secretly recorded their encounters. Music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones also sued, alleging Combs groped him and forced him to solicit sex workers. Combs denied these allegations vehemently, branding Ventura's lawsuit a shakedown and her claims outrageous lies. His lawyer accused Ventura of demanding $30 million to avoid writing a damaging book about their relationship. Ventura's lawyer countered that Combs offered her a substantial sum to silence her. They reached an undisclosed settlement within 24 hours of her filing. Despite his denials, the allegations cast a long shadow over Combs's glittering persona. Known for his extravagant parties and larger-than-life presence, he now faced a public reckoning. In March, Homeland Security agents raided his Los Angeles and Miami estates as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation, leaving his once impenetrable empire in disarray. In the wake of these raids, the silence from Combs' famous friends was deafening. Unlike past legal scrapes, this time his charisma and connections couldn't deflect the storm. Former bad boy artist Mace remarked, "Reparations is getting closer and closer, the big payback." Over 6 months, Rolling Stone interviewed dozens of Combs' former associates, painting a picture of a man with dual personas. Publicly, he was generous and jovial, but privately, a menacing figure emerged. He allegedly used his power to control and intimidate, from sending staffers to win back Jennifer Lopez to beating a label executive involved with his ex-partner, Kim Porter. Combs did not address specific allegations but stated through his lawyer that he couldn't comment on settled or pending litigation. Joy Dickerson-Neal, suing Combs for sexual assault, emphasized that her decision to come forward was about exposing the truth, not money. Ventura's complaint detailed years of abuse, beginning with Combs forcibly kissing her on her 21st birthday. He allegedly controlled every aspect of her life, pressured her to use drugs, and subjected her to violent beatings. When she had a brief relationship with musician Kid Cudi, Combs reportedly beat her and later claimed he would blow up Cudi's car, an act Cudi confirmed when his car exploded. Ventura described submitting to Combs to avoid further violence, leading to a cycle of abuse and trafficking. Combs allegedly filmed these encounters, calling them freak-offs. A disturbing surveillance video unearthed by CNN showed Combs pursuing a fleeing Ventura in a hotel, attacking her, and attempting to drag her back to the room. After years of silence, Ventura decided to speak out for herself and other women facing similar abuse. As her allegations surfaced, Combs attempted to mitigate the fallout, leveraging his relationships and producing positive press. He fulfilled promises to his alma mater,
I want to donate $1 million to Howard University.
launched an e-commerce platform for black entrepreneurs, and released a new album proclaiming he was in his love era. In a short film conceptualized a year before her breakup, Ventura's voiceover poignantly asked,
"But how do you just walk away from it and escape it? You can't just walk away from something that it's easy because, I feel like I get to disappear and I don't have to deal with just all the regular bullshit."
This sentiment now echoes in her fight for justice and freedom from the trauma she endured. Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her. The world watched in horror as hotel security footage of Sean Diddy Combs assaulting a woman surfaced. Forced to confront his actions, Combs made a rare admission of guilt, specifically for that incident.
I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
"I'm disgusted." He claimed to have sought therapy and rehab, expressing deep regret. Ventura's lawyers, however, dismissed his apology as pathetic desperation.
When Cassie and multiple other women came forward, he denied everything and suggested that his victims were looking for a payday. That he was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false shows his pathetic desperation, and no one will be swayed by his disingenuous words, end quote.
Those who knew Combs were shocked. LaJoyce Brookshire, a former publicity director for Arista and Bad Boy, was appalled to discover such actions from someone who could face her the next day without a trace of remorse. This revelation shook her to the core. Some women from Combs' college days at Howard University, however, had already seen glimpses of his controlling and abusive behavior. Combs started at Howard in the fall of 1987, quickly gaining a reputation for throwing legendary, wild parties. Flamboyant and charismatic, he was often seen driving around campus in his convertible, passing out party flyers. Although he left after his sophomore year, Combs maintained connections with future industry leaders from Howard, which helped build Bad Boy's early success. Shantae Page, a former A&R executive, recalled the positive experiences and iconic parties thrown by Combs at Howard, describing them as once-in-a-lifetime events. He was a go-getter and always in the know. However, other women shared previously unreported incidents of unwanted touching and fits of rage. One woman kept her distance after Combs caressed her back without warning and asked if she would meet one of his friends. Another former student remembered him losing his temper when she objected to him cutting in a cafeteria line. These small moments hinted at the darker side that would later explode. A third former student recalled how Combs would tap on the window of an English class to get his girlfriend to skip class. His visits became unwelcome, causing noticeable tension. The classmate, who requested anonymity out of fear of retribution, recalled a particularly disturbing incident where Combs appeared outside the Harriet Tubman Quadrangle dorm, shouting for his girlfriend to come out. Fellow students ran through the halls, knocking on doors in a panic, warning that Combs, known then as Puff, was attacking the young woman outside. "Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her," the students shouted. Another witness described seeing Combs using what appeared to be a belt to strike the young woman, screaming and acting belligerently. The witness, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the woman was clearly terrorized, trying to defend herself while crying, as onlookers screamed for Combs to stop. A third source corroborated this account. The woman at the center of the incident declined to comment. Combs was known for his short temper, a trait that earned him the nickname Puffy as a child because he would always huff and puff when angry. His mother, Janice, described him as a ham, while his father, Melvin, a drug dealer murdered when Combs was just a toddler, left a lasting impact. Despite barely knowing his father, Combs acknowledged inheriting his father's hustler mentality, drive, and determination. Janice moved the family from Harlem to Mount Vernon, where Combs balanced two worlds, playing football at his Catholic high school and immersing himself in New York City's burgeoning hip-hop scene. His passion for music was evident early on, blasting records from a mixing kit his mother bought him when he was 13. Combs' time at Howard fueled his ambitions. Determined to break into the music industry, he juggled college with a part-time internship at Uptown Records in New York City. Heavy D, a neighbor, helped secure the job interview after Combs persistently badgered him at a local pizza spot. From Howard, evading train fare by hiding in the bathroom. He eventually dropped out of school to work full-time at Uptown, where he became CEO Andre Harrell's mentee. The juxtaposition of Combs's public success and private turmoil presents a complex narrative. His charisma and drive propelled him to stardom.
If you want these niggas to be Puff Daddy or Madonna or Janet, you gotta live by their ways, dog. I wake up, when I have an album, I wake up at 8 in the morning and I don't go to sleep till 4. And that's the way it works. That's the only way you're gonna be all you could be.
But beneath the surface lay a troubling pattern of control and violence that many around him either overlooked or endured in silence. The revelations about his past behaviors offer a sobering reminder of the duality that can exist within public figures, urging a deeper examination of those who wield significant influence. Combs' rise at Uptown Records is legendary. He played a pivotal role in catapulting artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci to multi-platinum success by transforming their images. He pioneered the remix and popularized the term hip-hop soul. His daddy's house parties at the now-closed Manhattan hip-hop club Red Zone became the stuff of legend, attracting even the most seasoned Uptown colleagues. He had the ability to convince people that whatever he was doing or wherever he was, that was the hot thing, says Dan Charnas, author of The Big Payback, The History of the Business of Hip-Hop. He understood more than anyone how the innovations of hip-hop, specifically sampling and using classic rap records as a basis for R&B songs, would be really powerful for a generation. As Combs's influence grew at Uptown, so did his darker side, as revealed in a sexual assault lawsuit filed by Joy Dickerson Neal. She acted opposite Combs in a 1990 music video and recalls a warning from Bronx rapper Sister Soulja to stay away from him due to his notorious reputation.
Who is she, and how did she come to meet the music mogul? Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Sean Combs recently fired back at a lawsuit filed by Joy Dickerson Neal. She claimed Combs sexually assaulted her in 1991 while she was on winter break from college. In her lawsuit, first filed in November of 2023, Dickerson Neal's lawyers wrote, quote, Combs had intentionally drugged Miss Dickerson, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Driving first to a music studio where she could not get out of the car, Combs proceeded to a place he was staying to sexually assault her. As was his practice, but unbeknownst to Miss Dickerson, Combs video recorded the sexual assault. Days later, a male friend revealed to her that he had viewed the, quote, sex tape along with other men. Horrified, Miss Dickerson asked how many others saw it, to which he responded, quote, everyone. The date Dickerson Neal filed this lawsuit, November 23, 2023, is important for two reasons. First, it came a week after Cassie Ventura, who spent years in a relationship with Sean Combs, sued the rapper, claiming he subjected her to years of sexual and physical abuse and intimidation.
Reluctantly, Dickerson Neal agreed to a dinner date with Combs in January 1991. To avoid being alone with him, she suggested they dine at the restaurant where she worked. She alleges that Combs spiked her drink and later pressured her to smoke a blunt. Her legs became weak, and she claims that Combs a nearby residence, filming the assault and showing it to others like a trophy. Combs has denied these allegations, calling the story fabricated and not credible, while his lawyers have sought to dismiss parts of the lawsuit.
Against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged.
In the Uptown office, Combs' ego and manipulative tactics began to cause friction among his peers. His antics culminated in a tragic event in December 1991, when he and Heavy D organized a celebrity charity basketball game at City College of New York. Overpromotion led to a stampede that killed 9 people and injured dozens. Although Combs claimed he had sought NYPD assistance and provided CPR to victims, a report by then-Mayor David Dinkins faulted him for allowing inexperienced staff to handle the event and drawing too many ticketless attendees. Gian Deal, head of security for Bad Boy and Puffy at the time, had this to say.
Puff Daddy celebrity basketball game.
City College tragedy.
Right. You were doing security that night.
Yes, I was.
That day, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So, from what I understand, and I've talked to a few people about this and read articles about it, that the event itself was oversold. There was all these kids who bought $20 tickets, and some of them were having trouble getting in, even the ones who had tickets.
Okay.
And then at one point, Mike Tyson shows up. LL Cool J shows up. And everyone starts going crazy and is trying to get into the building.
All right. What happened was that Puff first hired 18 of my guys to do the job for the outside. That's what we did, the outside of clubs. You know, people, we did it for Tim Dog, them, all the Uptown parties and everything. My crew was thorough. I had Powerful, Slick, Noah, TJ, Bunny, just dudes that was known in the city. Then I hired some correction officers and a few cops also, that you don't have problems with people online. This particular day, Puff calls me the day before we supposed to do the party, say, yo, Gene, I don't need y'all to do the security outside. I got the FOIs to do it. All right? So I said, man, I just told 18 guys. He said, I just need 8. I just need 8. I said 8. And Slick, you know, who was, at this time I had left the same gang and went over to Slick and the Family, and I started Slick and the Family with my man because me and D Ferg and them, we was cool and everything, but they was not allowing me to get the money that I was thinking of all the things, the picnics, the parties and everything. So they didn't allow me to, they just only wanted to pay me to do the security. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to, you know, him and Mike didn't want to break me into the fold and me put up a quarter of the money so we could do it together, so we could, you know, break down the things that I was thinking of. So I started the own group with Slick and the Family. So Slick said, don't worry about it, Gene. We just go there with the 8 guys and we just take the money and we just come back to the game room and just have fun. I said, yeah, all right, cool. So we shows up and I see that the people was already crowded out there and it was crazy. So I finagled my way in there, me and Slick and them. I said, yo, I told Puff right then and there, I say, Puff, if they don't do a boxing one outside and get these kids off the door, somebody gonna die tonight. He said, Gene, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You just handle the stars once they come inside. So I said, yeah, all right then. So I did a walk around. So I walked around the top of the floor, went down the steps and went in the gym, and then came across the gym, and I seen that you can go up the steps and be right there at the front door. So everybody was coming in. You seen Dougie Fresh, Red Alert, they was on the mic. People start coming in and everything. It was cool. And then when LL Cool J and Mike Tyson showed up, that shit must have went pandemonium. They must have broke through the first doors where the FOIs was and came to the door where we was inside at. And it was a glass door that they were crowded at in the glass door, and people were steady pushing the people through the door, whereas that they pushed the people so hard that the glass broke and people fell through the glass doors at the top of the stairs. And when people fell through the door at the top of the store, we grabbed this girl. You know, she was pregnant. We later found out that was Father MC's baby's mother. And she died that day with her baby inside her. And you could see that she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? She had to be like 6 or 7 months pregnant. So we grabbed her and helped her up. And then she ended up going downstairs when we had got her out the way. So they got trapped down the stairs. After they broke through the first glass, they got trapped downstairs through the second door because Jessica had got scared. That was Puffy's partner at the time, Jessica Rosenberg. She got scared, ran downstairs with the money box and shut the door behind her. And all those people got shut down in there and got trapped.
Right. 9 people died that day. 29 others were injured. And I guess Nice and Smooth's bodyguard was one of the people that got killed.
My man, let me tell you something. That dude was about 6'4". He had a white t-shirt on, I think, with khaki pants. I was over there trying to resuscitate him, and I was like, this shit is crazy. So it was just that crazy. That big dude died there too. So you didn't have to be a certain size. He was about 6'4", man.
Yeah, sad. A very sad day to see that much death and destruction right in front of you.
Right.
Was that the first time you'd actually seen people dying?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
But in that fashion, though.
In that fashion, yeah. In that fashion. Yeah. I've never seen, you see people get shot. You see people, situations like that. But in that fashion, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, 7 years later, a judge actually placed 50% of the blame on the people's deaths on the City University in New York and 50% on the promoters, which is Heavy D and Puffy and Jessica Rosenberg. But I don't think anyone actually went to prison or anything else like that over that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And because of that incident, Puffy got fired from Uptown.
Yes, he did.
Amid the mounting lawsuits and potential criminal charges, Uptown CEO Andre Harrell advised Combs to lay low. Terrified, Combs spent months hiding in a Manhattan hotel with his mother. Once the controversy died down, Combs returned to Uptown, still seeing himself as Harrell's successor. He spent much of 1992 producing Mary J. Blige's acclaimed debut, What's the 411, and founded his own Uptown imprint, Bad Boy Entertainment, to sign his own artists. Despite his success, internal tension grew. Harrell, feeling the pressure from jealous Uptown executives who referred to Combs as Satan, eventually decided to fire him in July 1993. This meant Uptown would not oversee the album release of Combs' new signee, Christopher Wallace, also known as the Notorious B.I.G. The termination devastated Combs, who was seen crying outside the office. He loved Andre. He loved Uptown. He didn't understand what Bad Boy was going to be, said Burroughs, Bad Boy's co-founding partner. Reflecting on the experience, Combs admitted in 1995 to Rolling Stone, "I cried for a couple days. I think at times I was hard to work with. Possibly I was just abusing the power, but that was only a little bit of the time." Thus began the next chapter for Combs, taking his new label, Bad Boy Entertainment, into uncharted territories and shaping the future of hip-hop. But as his career soared, the shadows of his past behaviors began to cast longer and darker, revealing a complex legacy intertwined with both innovation and controversy.